Ladies and gentlemen, and in-betweeners, I'm your host, Alexander Rodriguez, here for On the Rocks radio show, where celebrities and cocktails mix tonight. On the Rocks goes to the Oscars with Green Book up for Best Film. Actor Mike Hatton is here with Mary Poppins Returns animator and unofficial movie critic Andreas Wessel-Therhorn. Such a fancy name. I feel like it's royalty in here. With my guest co-host, writer, director, producer Stan Zimmerman is back. Of course, we know his work from The Golden Girls, Gilmore Girls, and Diary of Anne Frank. And me, your favorite host with the deepest voice. So raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, coming at you live, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It's going to be a bumpy night. I hope Hollywood does not banish me after tonight's episode, because we're going to talk everything. We're going to talk about your guys' career, but we're also going to talk about the Oscars and what is happening this season. Buttons and bows and pantyhose, this is On the Rocks, the place where we're too glam to give a damn. Sometimes I think I should eat healthier, but then I think about the Bible. Adam and Eve ate an apple, and look what happened. They ate an apple.
I know.
If they had a burger, it wouldn't have happened. Come on. That's like my diet. It's the Bible says it. I'm just doing what the Bible says. Thank you to our sober listeners for tuning in. We love you. Thank you for holding our hair back and driving us home. Drunk texting is literally the only sport that I excel at, which is a true story. It's sad but true. Hello to our listeners around the nation on iHeartRadio, United Broadcasting Network, Player FM, Stitcher, TuneIn, Satchel, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. Of course, we are on Facebook Live, on Trending Now in San Diego, True FM in Ohio. Hello, Ohio. And nationally on Bear World Magazine. Right. Check out my movie news, my movie reviews, and my celebrity interviews on Bear World Magazine with now video, so you can check out video. This week I talked about Emma Thompson dropped out of her last animated film because they hired, what's his face? Yeah, yes, who was fired from Pixar for alleged sexual whatever. Yeah, yes. Alleged. Emma Thompson ain't having it. Good for you, girl. Stick up. Also, Jason Momoa is going to be in the Dune reboot with Josh Brolin. And
everybody else in town.
Yeah, Josh Brolin is doing it, and Javier Bardem is in it. I hope Jason takes... Chalamet. Yeah. I hope he takes acting lessons before, because they will eat him alive. How's he going to be on that set? He can't just be like, I'm sexy in the sand. Like, you got to do something.
Barbara will work with him.
Somebody's got to. Literally, Aquaman is him doing this. It's like... It's like, okay, what about the plot? We don't need it. I am so happy to announce that through our new media partnership with Here Media, a.k.a. Here TV, On the Rocks is now coming to Amazon Prime and Facebook Watch and the Here TV app for free, launching ASAP. Like this Friday, our episodes will be on Facebook Watch, and the next week on Amazon Prime. Look for us soon everywhere. So excited to be working with them. Here TV is the exclusive platform for LGBT filmmakers, artists, and performers to showcase award-winning films and series.
Winning.
It's so winning, it's winning.
I'm taking this away from you.
Elemental P. Winning. On the Rocks, where we don't really say real words. And series in the original, uncensored form, and of course shows like mine. This is huge for us. Go On the Rocks. Very excited. Big shout out to our sponsor, Vista Grande Resort, an oasis in the oasis of Palm Springs. 29 rooms, over an acre of land, with rooms ranging from 250 square feet to the luxurious full apartment that I stay in when I visit. It has 2 pools, a lagoon, a waterfall, and a steam room.
Is it clothing optional?
It is clothing optional. Really? It actually is clothing optional.
Wait, is that the one? That's not the one near the bridge, right?
One of them.
The bridge?
What bridge?
Mike Hatton has spent some time in Palm Springs. Does your wife know you know where the bridge is?
The one near the bridge, you know? The one that I drive under only.
Yes.
Yeah, slowly.
Billy Goat's gruff. I know how you paid your toll. Got Green Book on my own merit. Yeah, right.
Well, you know what they say. Who you know and who you...
Oh!
No, tease
I'm going to steal that.
Yeah, you better
stop drinking.
My house is very close by.
Cisco says hello. Hello, Cisco. But also this resort serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and all in this amazing resort. They even give you a sandwich at midnight if you come back from the clubs hungry and drunk. They give you a sandwich.
Sweet.
I love it. They've been serving.
Does my wife work there?
No, she does not. I've seen the staff.
So you don't do
dressed and undressed.
You don't do the clothing optional thing.
I don't because I don't need. I'm a celebrity. I'm on Amazon Prime, Stan.
Cover it up. Yeah.
No, I literally go to the pool because I'm always in a suit.
Yeah.
I have a suit that they made for me with shorts.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's cute, but it's like annoying. Anyway, but that's how I go to the pool. So visit VistaGrandeResort.com to book your stay. Great for extended stay, a staycation, or just a one-night getaway. Also, our sponsor, Bearworth. Do you know your Bearworth? Bearworth clothing is a reminder if you're struggling, whether in self-esteem, self-image, health, relationships, or life, you are good enough and you are strong enough. Using apparel as a tool to lift your spirits and build confidence. They have tons of fun clothing, accessories, backpacks, even pillows and towels for men of every shape and size. Take them to Vista Grande Resort. Bearworth.com. All right, we're getting through this because we have a big show tonight. Our website has been updated. It's brand new. It looks gorgeous. You can watch and listen to everything on the Rocks at ontherocksradioshow.com. You can also watch our video on Facebook, the now trending app, and of course, coming soon to Amazon Prime. My mom, Mama Rose, is in the chat room on ubngo.com and Facebook. Ask her your question. She'll answer it. And if it's a burning question, I'll ask it on air. Please keep her busy. She's next to the vodka, and I don't need her stalking people on Christian Mingle again. True story, by the way. I'm like, oh, God, I have a Christian
Is she
stepdad.
dating?
No, she needs to.
Would you want her to?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
There's a lot of parents.
From 100 texts to 50 texts, probably, if she had a hobby, like a man or a woman. I don't care at this point.
Look at you.
Some women, when they get older, they turn to other women.
Not? Okay.
I'm just kidding. Your husband's like, what? Hello to our engineer, Kurt. Kurt, we missed you last week. You were in Arizona.
Yeah, I was in Tucson.
For like 7 days, right?
Yeah.
That's too long to be in Tucson.
It's a long time
Even
in Tucson.
Tucsonians?
I don't know.
Tucsonites? Tucsonites? Stan, you're the writer. What's the way to write that? If you were to
don't.
write... Oh,
Yeah.
you don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't write about Tucson.
Phoenix.
Yes, even travel guides don't write about that. Even the Green Book didn't write about Tucson.
Nope, they didn't stop in Tucson.
I mean, beautiful land. The sunsets were gorgeous, but that's about
What were you doing there?
it. Family.
That's the consolation prize.
Yeah.
Tucson's great. Beautiful sunsets.
Yeah,
When the sun
exactly.
goes down and you go to bed, you don't have to live it anymore. Kurt, you're so punny. We all love your puns. You even sent one from Tucson, by the way.
Yeah, I did. I
It was
sent one to
actually
Tony.
really funny.
Yeah.
His delivery, not so much. Tony's fired.
I can only give him the pun. I can't tell him how to do it. But
The award-winning delivery that you have. Where's your Oscar nomination?
right.
Okay, give us your pun today.
We all just want to belong, but some of us are just short.
That was really bad.
Yeah, I know.
Andreas,
They're all
don't
bad.
feel like you have to feed into this. And Mike, we know that you have a stand-up comedy background. Don't feel like you have to courtesy laugh. Thank you, Kurt. You're so funny.
You're welcome.
Oh, white straight people in entertainment, we love them. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air. If you're still using Facebook, which I know you are, go to On The Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. Okay, let me reintroduce my co-host for tonight, setting the record for the most appearances on The Rocks. He's been coming on the show for 134 years. Stan Zimmerman worked in casting before moving to LA, where he's been part of one of the longest-running comedy writing teams, Zimmerman and Berg. Along with James Berg, he's worked on many television series, including season 1 of The Golden Girls, Fame, Roseanne, Wanda at Large, and the highly successful 5th season of Gilmore Girls. Besides writing and producing television pilots, they rewrote the Emmy and Peabody Award-winning Annie for ABC. Kathy Bates, Kristen Chenoweth, Alan Cumming, Audra McDonald.
And Rob Marshall, that was his first directing gig. He was only a choreographer before that, so that's our little connection.
Yeah, Rob Marshall, Mary Poppins Returns.
Yeah.
They've also written for film, including the Brady Bunch movies. They created Skirt Chasers, a web series on telefilms.com. Included Elizabeth Keener, Barry Bostwick, who we've had on the show. Love Barry Bostwick. And Meredith Baxter.
I know.
Yeah.
What a group.
Also, Sex and Execs stars Sandra Bernhard, Olivia D'Abo, Parviz Chena, Mindy Sterling, and garnered Mindy Sterling an Emmy.
An Emmy nomination.
For
I
your
got to go
direction
with her
for
right
that.
now. How do you like that?
Yeah.
The first one.
When are you going to put me in something so I can get an Emmy nomination?
You refused to audition for me. So
Oh,
it's
that is...
a little-
here we
I've
go.
asked. Here we go. The
Audition?
story.
What's that? I'm on Amazon Prime. I'm going to
He's
say that
offer
wherever I
only.
go, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to Del Taco and be like, it's Taco Tuesday. Do I get
They
free
don't
tacos?
care.
I'm on
No,
Amazon
no.
Prime.
Doesn't help.
They're currently working on Silver Fox's A Gay Man's Golden Girls. They had an epic reading of their pilot sitcom with George Takei, Leslie Jordan, Bruce Valanche, Sherry O'Terry, and Melissa Peterman. Last year, Stan's benefit reading of Right Before I Go in New York included Ellen Burstyn, Judith Light, Michael Cerveris, Alice Ripley, Vanessa Williams, small name among many, many cast members. His relationship with the Dory Theater in Los Angeles. Theater in LA, yes, it does exist. Has seen a myriad of great plays starring some of your favorite celebrities, from Melissa Peterman to Tony Award winner Marissa Winokur, Desperate Housewives Andrea Bowen, and is currently seeing the encore presentation performance of his controversial production, The Diary of Anne Frank, with an all Latinx cast, as heatedly talked about on many news outlets, including CNN.
CNN, but they were nice about it. But Breitbart and Drudge and Geraldo Rivera was screaming about me on Fox and Friends one Sunday. A little
Oh, then
theater
it can
production.
only be good.
Well, we sold out, so that was the good part.
Well, Geraldo's mad because of his career.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah. Well, and
Because
his
he went
looks.
into the vault and there was nothing there.
Yes. Do you remember that? Well, you
Never
used to be
forget.
a news reporter.
Yeah,
Can you
hashtag
imagine?
never forget.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what that. Do you guys know what we're talking
Of course
about?
we do.
Yeah. I thought something was going to be in there.
Capone's vault. There was nothing
It was
there.
live TV and then nothing. That was
Yeah, there was
very,
a huge
very
build-up.
challenging, Yes. And you're coming to the show on Sunday. Or
Sunday, I'm
closing
coming
night.
to the finale. I'm coming
Yeah.
right before the Oscars.
I know, that's very bold of you, but thank you for coming.
Of course, I wouldn't miss it. Of course, we had the cast of The Diary of Anne Frank
did,
the first
yes.
time it came around. Such a great cast of so many different nationalities of the Latin community. You know, we
Yes.
think the Latin community here in Southern California, we think Mexican, Mexican, Mexican. It's everything under the
You
sun.
hear all different accents.
Yes.
So just so you know, I had heard that there were safe houses actually in Los Angeles hiding Latin families from ICE. And that made me think of Anne Frank, so I decided to cast everybody in the attic with Latinx actors, and that's when the right-wing media and a lot of Jews got very mad at me for doing
But
it.
you didn't change one word from the production. You're
It's
not selling it
word
as
for
like,
word
now we're
of-
in Mexico and all
Nope,
this.
It's word for word of the Natalie Portman version that she did on Broadway in 1997.
Wow.
So that when people come to see it, they get their own connections. And the beautiful thing is lately, we've had a lot of school groups contact me and buy out entire shows. And I'm seeing kids from all over the inner city that have never seen a play before, and this is their first play that they see, and they're seeing their peers up there in leading roles.
Yeah.
And that it's been so gratifying. I can't even explain it to you.
Well, the story you shared the first time you were on is the girl playing Anne Frank didn't even know who Anne Frank
Yes,
was.
at the
Does that terrify the
Wow.
crap
At
out of
the
you?
audition, I said to her, well, what grade did you read the book or the play? And she goes, I didn't know who it was. I saw the breakdown. And she said, Mom, I think they made a mistake. They want Latin actors for this? And it's like, yep, they do. So that made me really mad and realized that this had to be more than just a play, but it had to be an educational piece of a tool.
That's
And
crazy.
Crazy. They don't have to read it in most schools. So
What? When did that happen?
So I would love to figure out some way, if there's any educators out there, we want to take it to different schools and figure out some.
I'm sure there's
mechanism to do
grants
that.
out there. By the way.
You want to fill them out for me? That's a full-time job.
I can barely write my notes down. Are you
did a
kidding?
beautiful job with these. I'm very impressed.
Do you know how many pages of notes we have? And then we get to like a paragraph.
And then
That's the
nothing,
nature
yeah.
of the show. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very impressed with
But
that.
congratulations. I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that you're back. I know that you guys have been sold out. You've had a number of celebrities come see it.
George Takei, he loved it. Melissa Peterman,
Yeah,
who's
we
comes
love
to
Melissa.
every time, yes. Maria Conchita Alonso came. So how do you like that? Yes.
She's. We've had her on the show.
Yes.
She's a little crazy. She's trying to get back on the show because of her new film.
Yes.
So
Her in the Running Man. Oh my God! Right, Running Man went back. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
Moscow
yeah,
on the
yeah.
Hudson. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
where
And then
I
she
was.
got involved.
So hot.
Yeah,
I mean, just like
that's when I first knew her, and I told her ever since that movie, I was always pitching Maria Conchita Alonso types because she
she's
you
great.
had not seen that whole package together, and she's really cool.
when she came into the show, she like took over the whole show. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you go,
Yeah,
girl.
yeah,
You
yeah.
tell us your stories. Because then she had a fight with Sean Penn about politics.
oh yeah.
Yeah. That went viral.
We had Corey Feldman come.
Oh, he did?
Because Keith
He owes me
Coogan-
$20.
So you introduced me. To,
You think that's a joke?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I
believe
said
that.
I love Corey. He's great.
so when I was on your show and Keith Coogan was on it, that's
Yeah.
how I met him. And I put him
Keith's
in,
great, too. I
yeah,
love
I
Keith.
put him in
Oh,
the
Keith is
play.
great.
So thank you for that. And Corey and Keith are good friends. And
This
so-
is why this relationship
Yeah,
works. He
yeah,
brings
we're-
me amazing people for the show.
And you
And
give me amazing people to be in my play. So let's keep this going.
well, and you have readings in your house. You guys, his house, it's going to be written about in some movie sometime or scene because he does readings in his living room with actors that you're like, you had who in your living room that get together to read? Who
I
did?
had Barbara Bain and Marla Gibbs reading a play based on my mother and my longtime housekeeper. And I'm like, if my
Wait,
little
your mother, but those are different people, right? Your mother and your
and my
longtime
housekeeper.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Don't ask my mom. She'll tell you the
yeah.
long, sad
that's
story.
okay. 'Cause
My
my
mom
mother-
calls herself Roma.
So
No,
Barbara,
okay.
Barbara Bain played my mother type, and then Marla Gibbs was my housekeeper, Virginia. And I just couldn't believe, because I grew up with Marla Gibbs just adoring the Jeffersons and everything, 227. And there we were sitting in my living room. I keep pinching myself that I get these people.
But also talk about Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf reading in your living room.
Ileana Douglas and Christina Ricci was Honey.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
Look
and
at
I
you,
really,
man.
really want to do that. I know how I want to stage it. But that's a bear of a show. I mean, it's like 3.5 hours or something.
Yeah, but it's such an
I'm gonna
amazing
do it.
show.
If you got Jack Hay from 227 to do that,
There you
then
go.
Can you
Okay,
imagine? What the duck?
I would love
Party.
that. I would love to work with her. Yes.
You get her on the show, you'd be like, oh.
Yeah. I think we actually asked her to be on the show.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I love Jack Hay. She's
You need to have Kim Whitley. Do you know Kim and
Yeah.
Sherry Shepherd? So
Yeah,
I'm
of
friends
course.
with them.
Oh,
So
do it, girl.
Bring 'em on.
Do it, girl.
Okay,
There you go.
There you go.
Did you ever work with Caroline Rhea?
No, but I do know her. Yeah.
So supposedly her friend Alex Ponovic, who's done the show a number of times, is bringing her on too.
Oh, cool.
Anyway,
She's fantastic.
we haven't caught up in so long. Like
I
we haven't
know,
at
it's
any
just-
time. Okay, well, welcome back to the
these
show,
guys.
Stan
Yeah,
Zimmerman.
thank you.
As a writer, what has been some of the most compelling writing, and we can all give an opinion, this Oscar season? I'm not talking directing, I'm not talking about acting, I'm talking just based on the script.
Writing. I am a big fan of BlacKkKlansman. That just blew me away. And Green Book, I have to say, those are my top
Green Book.
two that I loved. Eighth Grade, which won the Writers Guild Award, which was, everyone was kind of surprised by that, because
Yeah.
that's a little film.
Yep.
But they were really smart because they sent a link to watch. And we're all against The Favorite, because that was the only movie we did not get the little DVD or link to
really?
it. So
Oh,
screw
that's
them. Yeah,
good.
they don't deserve our
That's
vote.
good to know.
Well, it's like odd. Like, why would you not send it to guild members? It doesn't make sense.
I got it.
You did? Well, can I borrow it? Would you go?
Yeah, but you're
go
on
to your
the
car and get it?
Academy too.
Yeah, you're in the Academy. I'm just in the Writers Guild. So I love weird little movies. Like I love like things like Welcome to the Dollhouse and odd movies like
Loved
that.
Welcome to the
Yeah,
Dollhouse.
so that reminded me of that.
I was at the WGA Awards the other night, and I got
Yeah.
a chance to meet both of them. I hadn't met both of them previously, and what is her name again? Elsie. What is the girl's name from the movie from 8th grade?
The actress?
She's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
She's first of all, the movie's amazing. But I will say it is not an opinion. I'm just saying. I was surprised. I was really surprised that it
that one?
won.
Yeah, I think everyone was kind of
Because-
surprised.
When I watch it, and keep in mind, I've never read the screenplay, so I can't tell you what the script had in it. But there's moments in it where there's no dialogue, and it's just her thumbing through social media,
Gucci.
Instagram, crazy. So I did not see that one coming.
Yeah.
I thought it would be somebody else.
So that's going to ruin a lot of Oscar pools, I think, because people are going to look at that and go, well, maybe the writers, but that doesn't always correlate.
Well, and sometimes when there's two people that cancel each other out, people
Yes,
go to
that's
third.
true.
Like Bernie Sanders announced that he's going for president again.
Really?
Anyway,
Do we need,
but
do we
like
need that?
why are you laughing
because like
at that?
the people can cancel
Look
each
at
other out, and then
maniacal
nobody wins, and then we end up. Somebody gets
Marissa
anyway.
Tomei, yeah, there you go.
Marissa Tomei for
we
president.
love her, there
Is she
you go.
running?
Yes. I'd probably vote for her, by
I
the
would
way,
too, yeah.
just to hear like, "Oh my God, I'm president." I wanted to prepare for today because I know we're going to end the show by talking about the Oscars and what's been going on. I saw all the best films in 2 days.
Wow.
And I really recommend doing that.
In
It was
the theater or at
exhausting
home?
in theater because I
Really?
wanted to
Oh my
experience the
God.
way that it was. The only one I watched at home was BlacKkKlansman.
Okay.
Because just timing and all that. I have never done that before. Each season I've watched them as they come out and whatever. And then the season comes, you feed into the hype that the media gives you. All the rumors, like the Bryan Singer, whatever, that should not shadow the film itself. I really recommend seeing the films back to back, side by side, because you really see the differences so vividly. And it's fresh, and I'm going to do this every Oscar season, I think, because this experience, rather than, do I remember how good that was or that person's acting, it's right
But
there.
seeing it so late, how can you avoid the hype? Whereas if you see it early on, you don't have to buy into that because you don't know that much about it. So
True, so that's good. So maybe revisit all the films. Oh, Stan, how much have you had to drink?
Well, there's so much water in
it's
here.
It's a dribble.
Airplane drinking problem.
It's a dribble cup.
Just part it
Okay.
like your people did years ago.
My people,
Yeah.
okay. What do you think of Glenn Close?
Glenn Close, but no cigar? Yes. No, her acting.
Really? Wow.
No. Her acting is phenomenal.
She's wonderful.
Film, And she do not put her in another Broadway musical. I will literally come over there. I will take the boulevard away from her. She cannot sing. She sounds like a frog. But her acting has changed in the last, I would say, decade. I never used to be a fan of hers. She's become more subtle, more refined.
The World According to Garp. Do you remember her in that?
Oh, she was great in that.
Oh, she was really good.
She wants to bring back Fatal Attraction, by the way. She wants to reboot it from the women's point of view. Oh, did you roll your eyes, Mike Hatton?
She didn't like that.
Boiled bunnies?
I mean, it was a great movie in the first place. Like, why do we need to revisit it?
You have to reboot everything.
Everything is being rebooted.
Now we rebooted that. Like, who saw that one coming? Like, really?
I do have some good news on the reboot. Big Trouble in Little China was going to be a reboot. Now they've announced they're going to make it a sequel, not a reboot.
Okay.
I'm okay with that because I did love Big Trouble. Not a remake, but a sequel.
Yeah, I just hope Kim Cattrall hasn't pissed off this cast as well.
And what's his face? And what's his face is still alive.
Kurt Russell?
The old Asian guy who's been in so many movies, and I can't remember his name.
This
He's
is the
amazing.
key for Hollywood. If
What's
you're
his
young
name?
in Hollywood,
He's like a big
I forget
coach
his name,
and-
and he's in every film.
He has the most credits of I think any Asian actor.
Probably almost any actor. He's like the Morgan Freeman of the
Asian.
Asian. He's in every.
I actually think it
everything.
might even be anyone. I think he has the most credits of anyone or something like that. Some crazy statistic.
Him, just like Leslie Nielsen, just like Peter Graves. If you're young in Hollywood, look super old now so that you never age. Right? Like that's the key. That really is the key. Anyway, let me formally introduce our panel for tonight. I'm so excited. This is how you celebrate the Oscars with people that are in the know, especially this season. Mike Hatton, born and raised in Indiana, attended Indiana State University. That is you. And while he worked as a cameraman with the CBS affiliate where did I go, Kurt? Here I am. To put himself through school. As a videographer, he won several Associated Press awards, covered everything from the firing of legendary and NCAA coach Bobby Knight to the execution of Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah,
that's just crazy.
Yeah.
That's
I shot for Wolf Blitzer actually.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
What's he like?
Very cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, I rode around in a car with him for a little bit. Yeah.
Did you go drinking with him?
No.
I think he'd be good to have a beer with.
I was intimidated. I did go out and drink that night because I was a college student when I shot that story, but yeah.
So you drank and you were the camera guy. It was like, is there an earthquake? No, I have tremors.
I came in maybe a little hungover. No, but I didn't get hungover at that age because I was in college.
Oh God, I miss those days. I miss those days.
You didn't get hungover because you were young?
Well,
I
remember my
hungover.
first hangover.
Ever.
I want to say it was around the time of my 30th birthday.
Okay.
But I've just derailed my bio. So go on and keep talking more about me.
After graduating, he was offered a job to help launch the CBS affiliate in Palm Springs as a cameraman. While in California, he started to commute all the way to Los Angeles to train at the Second City in Los Angeles. Classmates included Matt Offerman and Bill Hader. Within a few months of being in Palm Springs, he was moved to on-camera work as a reporter for CBS 2's Eye on the Desert, which is still around, by the way.
Still around. Great show.
He reported on events such as the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival, Palm Springs International. What?
Nothing. The vodka's getting to you.
Coachella. I call it Coachella because
there's no telly.
Yeah, there's no telly about Coachella. Don't be jelly. We're going to Coachella. Oh God, we could do a whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God. And also the Palm Springs International Film Festival, which in a circle of life years ago was reporting on the red carpet, and this last year was on the red carpet. I love stories like that, especially Palm Springs, because I have a little
ties, yeah.
Yeah. He has interviewed countless people in the entertainment industry. Some interviews went well, some did not go well. We actually have footage of one that did not go well. He's also produced dozens of TV commercials and infomercials. Kurt, can we play? I just have to.
You love this. Please tell me you thought it was hysterical as I did when I put it on the air.
Because I do, because my funny approach, sometimes people just do not want it.
No, man.
Let's catch a little bit of this past interview.
I didn't know you pulled this up. That's great.
From Mike Hatton, Mr. Luke Perry.
Every night we send our special correspondent Mike Hatton to interview one of his biggest idols. Let's check in with Mike and his special guest. Mike.
I'm at UCR
Who's
Palm
that?
Desert.
Love the
Tonight,
sideburns.
Nuts and Bolts
Thank you.
kicks off. It's a serious discussion on the entertainment industry. The first speaker, Luke Perry. That's right, the Luke Perry. The man who inspired me to groom my brows. The man who told me to grow out sideburns through the airwaves. A man who I'm
Like, this is your personality,
to, and he's going to answer them. You know why? Because he's moved from 90210 to 92260, and I'm going to find him. Dylan! Dylan, where are you? Luke Perry.
You're as high with the
Look
other
at him.
way.
He's so scared of you.
Next to a legend. I'm serious. I love 90210, and I love some of the other stuff you've done. 8 Seconds, a classic. But you're here tonight to talk about nuts and bolts.
He
in the
looks so
entertainment
scared of
industry.
you, by the
You've done a
way.
lot of different stuff.
Number one, he looks like he works at Home
What are you gonna
Depot.
talk about?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I'm here because...
He doesn't know what he's there for?
What are we here to talk about?
As a playwright who I've worked with before, and he's a good friend of mine. And my
But you don't give up, which I love. You do
about
not
the
give up.
interaction
You can't.
between
You know,
actor and
you're
audience
trying to get the story.
and, how we address the material and different things like that.
Things like that.
You've done a lot of different
He always
stuff.
looks like he's
obviously,
squinting.
in the
Yeah.
industry. You've
Well, that's what he
directed
did in the show, too. He's
Yeah. Now his eyes are open looking for his paycheck.
Kind of like Bradley Cooper's performance.
Oh, F that performance.
The other stuff just sort of
His
happens.
Sam Elliott impersonation
Kind of
performance,
fell
you
into
mean?
No, it was Jeff Bridges. He was
So
imitating.
you've got some
Oh,
recent
yeah.
projects that you work on. Can you tell us about any of them?
And Luke Perry hasn't made up his mind whether he's going to answer you seriously or not.
I tried, man.
People who win the lottery.
I really tried. And I really wanted to meet him. I was a fan of 90210, not a huge fan. Not
What's
as
under
big
the
a fan
hat?
as I was. I think he still has hair, as
Okay,
far as I
show it
know.
off.
But,
And he's
yeah.
promoting a show that we didn't even see. Oh, look at the reaction.
Really didn't go that well.
Oh,
Gino Lavatt. He's still on the air, KMIR.
You did the
But I love that you
interview.
stay with your shtick.
It seemed a little off.
Yeah, he wasn't really very warm to me. I
Oh,
mean, I think
wow.
it's probably because, he's had some troubles. He had some troubled road. The drugs, near fatal car accident in Malibu almost took him off the side of the road. And then
You remember
Brenda
that
left him.
episode?
I mean, I remember when they used to hang out at the Peach Pit and, with Brendan and the guys. And
Mike,
they
Mike, that stuff's not real.
But I love that you had a storyline, and we're going to talk about this because I go through this as well. When you're reporting other people, but you want to be,
fun.
you want to be a character in what's happening too.
Yeah.
After several years of producing camera work, acting on on-air television spot, Mike was offered the role of a lifetime to be the on-air man-on-the-street reporter for Jimmy Kimmel's show.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? He sold his place, moved his family from Palm Springs to Los Angeles. You remember that? No, you don't. The writer's strike hit, and there went
Sorry.
his Kimmel gig.
Sorry.
I hate stories like that in
Writer's
entertainment.
strike.
How
Yeah.
crazy is that?
It was.
I bet that was uncomfortable at the dinner table.
Took me 10 years to come back.
Since he had already started making inroads in the feature film world, he put his production know-how to use and raised money to shoot and star in Shoot the Hero with Danny Trejo, one of my favorite, and Jason
Danny.
Mewes. Who's they're starting to film Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, they're in production. Like I think they started yesterday.
Yeah.
I know, I'm begging Kevin. Like,
Yeah.
please.
Talk about the little film that could. From that, his film production company, Ton of Hats, was created and has become a full-service production company doing corporate gigs and unscripted projects for Paramount, Warner Brothers, and more. Had a starring role in the film he wrote, Live Nude Girls, which is a Lampoon-esque homage to the 80s sex
Which is
comedy.
also on Amazon Prime.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Starring opposite Dave Foley, who I love Dave Foley. I love him from Kids on the Hall, by the way.
Oh my God, he's a genius.
This film surpassed expectation, went on to top the New York Times Movie Pulse list for 3 weeks, stayed on the list 12 weeks alongside major films such as Guardians of the Galaxy. His follow-up film...
Great title, right? Live New Girls, very searchable.
Yeah, well, that's true.
If you're at a home
yes.
computer or
Not
your
for
phone
me.
or not at work.
Yeah, that's right. Andreas is like, what?
You're like, okay.
Kurt,
all right,
change the name
fine.
of the podcast. Live
Wrong
Nude Girls,
demographic,
Archives.
guys. Sorry.
I thought it was Live New Girls.
That's it. That could be the zombie version. Live, nude girls.
Live.
Live, nude girls.
His follow-up, Vigilante Diaries, was the first micro-budget film sold to HBO in over a decade. A film paired Hatton with producer Nick Vallelonga,
Yeah.
which this is how the whole Green Book thing started. Yes and no, because it wasn't just like, oh, I'm in the film, because that didn't happen. We're going to talk about that. And the two produced a pilot for NBC titled Unorganized Crime, starring Oscar nominee Chaz Palminteri. And of course, yes. Kurt, I can barely hear myself or anybody. What's happening?
I hear you.
I'm such a narcissist. I think the cord came loose or something. We know Green Book stars Oscar nominee Viggo Mortensen and Oscar winner Mahershala Ali is the true story of Don Shirley, an African-American classical pianist, as he tours through the South during segregation. I actually watched footage of the real Don Shirley playing. That was amazing. Hatton was cast as George Dyer, who is the bass player, playing his own bass, by the way, of the Don Shirley Trio, which allows him to show off his playing skills in addition to his acting. Director Peter Farrelly was so impressed with Hatton, saying, Hatton was excellent and also very funny. There we go. I almost heard it.
I know, to have Peter Farrelly say that I'm funny was like, I'm like, okay, I can die now. I mean, seriously.
Well, I mean, and he's getting so much accolades the whole film. Hatton is sort of the comic relief besides being a great actor and a nice bass player. I love he says great actor and nice bass player.
He's good enough.
Yeah, he's okay.
He's good enough.
Currently, Hatton is producing a film called Triumph, starring Breaking Bad's R.J. How do you pronounce his last name?
Mitty.
Mitty, where a portion of the proceeds will benefit the United Cerebral Palsy Foundation. Yeah. Show business is in his family blood. He's married to his very supportive wife, who is a reporter for CBS KCAL in Los Angeles. Did you get to go on there? Like, was it weird, like, guessing on the show?
So the morning after the Golden Globes, I mean, and you can imagine, I embraced the Golden Globes. Like, I did what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed
to
drink and party,
network,
sleep with everybody.
By myself.
You're not?
Myself, no. Okay. On the couch because I was too drunk to sleep in my bed. No, I didn't. But the next morning, I got a call from the wife, and she's like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And I of course, immediately was like, "I'm fine." I was hungover, and she says, "They want you on the air." Tonight, can you be in at 5 o'clock for the news to be on CBS 2 KCAL? So of course I said yes, and then I did what I normally do because I have 3 kids, so I got my shit together and then got on the air and it was great. The segment went very well, but the pressure was on.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've been there.
Oh, I've definitely been there. Yeah. Like I'm like puking into a bowl, and they're like, "Hey, you want to sing a show, Tim?" Sure. Anything goes. Hatton, who also has a twin brother, what's his phone number? I'd love to give him a call. Wink, wink. Hatton also
he's the bear of the two of us too.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's got me. He's got me by a few pounds, and he's got the beard, and yeah.
Never mind. I don't need his number.
He said he was going to try and listen.
Yes.
Then he
tried. There is no trying on the rocks. Amazon Prime. Hatton also has 3 children, a son and twin girls. When do you sleep?
The twin thing. What's
Rarely.
Yeah.
It runs in the genes, I
really?
guess,
Is it
man.
true?
Yeah.
Is that what...
I will look at you and
it
get
definitely
you pregnant.
does. Yeah.
Like it's just it's like.
Wow.
That felt good. Yeah.
Yes, well, it's been a while for Stan. There's cobwebs there. Just kidding. Allegedly. All alleged. Mike's twins have an acting resume as well, having played Michael Sheen's infant son on Showtime's Master of Sex. Please welcome to the show, making his debut, is Mike Hatton.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Also joining us, Andreas Wessel-Therhorn III. I feel like I need to say the third after that.
That's a great name.
Yes, it is such a great name.
Is it real?
Thank you. Well, yes, it is real.
Okay.
Real.
If you put it into Facebook, there's no others. It's not like, which one is he?
That is the good
yes.
Yes.
This talented strudel from Germany studied graphic design, received his bachelor degree in illustration and design in Munster, and has served as a cultural representative to Germany at Epcot Center at Walt Disney World, Florida. You can see his current work in theaters as an animator for Mary Poppins Returns. Of course, we love that animated scene. Such a throwback to the original. And his career has created the environment and the characters for some of your favorite animated personalities, including Curious George, Tom and Jerry, The Smurfs, Kung Fu Panda, Yogi Bear, Little Mermaid, Tinkerbell, Tarzan, Looney Tunes, Piglet, Hercules, Kala and Tarzan, Cusco Llama in Emperor's New Groove, Space Jam, Balto, and the list goes on and on. And this is not counting his own personal art. He literally goes to see every single film and every single secret screening. I get jealous every time I check his Facebook. His opinions on films are very enlightening, and though we don't always agree, I love his view on cinema. When you can give a view that you don't agree with such facts and other references, it excites me totally. He's a member of the Academy, and though we can't talk about who he voted for, he can certainly share his opinions on this year's award season. Please welcome our panel for tonight!
Done good.
Yeah.
So I think we can agree that this year's Oscars was full of many firsts and should be last for many, many things. This year's Best Picture category is such a grab bag of so many things, which I think is good. Yeah. Before it was like, oh, all the World War II boring documentaries, let's nominate them, or it was all kind of the same feel. I have no idea what the hell to think about this year's nomination category, which is good in some ways. Some of the films I don't think should.
You mean who's going to win, or just...
No, who's even nominated? Yeah. We have everything from a superhero film to a black and white film in Spanish that has periods of time where there's nothing going on, nothing to the unintelligent eye, I have to say. When people are like, what was happening? A lot was happening. To a great film like Green Book, that told a story without CGI, without a whole cast of A-listers telling a story, which was what this whole film industry started for in the beginning. But as creators, part of 2 films that have been so much part of this award season, what is your feeling on something that you guys have worked on a while ago, and now it's been talked about for months and months and months. You're seeing the billboards all over town, of course, for Mary Poppins Returns and for Greenberg. Greenberg. It's a bird to you. I'm from Australia. Look at me. What's it like as a creator to be part of something that is so talked about that definitely is now part of well, not only Oscar history, but film history, especially Mary Poppins Returns. It took her a while to return, by the way.
54 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, it felt great. It feels great. I mean, and I'm glad that people really seem to enjoy it. The first screening I went to, way before it came out, people gave it a standing ovation, which was great. And you know, there's so many depressing movies out. It's a feel-good movie, and you know, to me, and I was really excited because there are lots of movies I worked on where I'm not that happy.
Like?
This one, you know, just it feels like a Walt Disney movie to me.
Yes.
And,
it has the spirit.
How did the original affect you as a child? Did you watch it?
Yeah, well, you know, at that time there were no videos or anything, so you had to wait till it was actually re-released. So I missed the last one, and I think I was about 16 or so until I saw it.
It was the first movie I think I saw like 5 times in a row. I love the imagination of it and going into the chalk thing. I have to go back, and I go back.
And it holds up great. I watched it the other day.
It totally does.
It's still such
It's a classic.
Well, and I remember my mom collected all the records growing up when she was a girl, and we still have the family record player. So I grew up listening to the Mary Poppins.
yes.
I remember the cover. I remember everything. And there would be 2 skips in the record that I would always remember. One was when they were laughing on the ceiling. It's like, one laughs too fast, one laughs too fast, and that was Dick Van Dyke. Of course, Dick Van Dyke in this film, he almost steals the whole film, by the way, with his end. But I grew up on these voices, and it was such a representation of what Disney is and
it must have been so daunting knowing that it's such a classic. How do you create something as classic as that, or do you stay away from that?
I think that was all up to Rob Marshall, who insisted that the animation be done traditionally.
What does that mean?
Hand drawn. You know, and I think if it were up to Disney, they would have done it in CGI. But he insisted that it
to have the same feel as the original.
Same feel, and nowadays you hardly have a room full of people who sit there and flip paper.
Because it's not cost effective now.
Well, so they say.
Okay.
I have a totally. It's a different thing because there was a very finite pool of people who could do that stuff, and still is. Where CGI, every school, every university has an animation course now. You don't even have to be able to draw anymore to animate. It's basically puppetry.
Yeah. While you're talking, Kurt, can you play some of the footage from Mary Poppins Returns, the animation sequence?
Hit it.
And
take that off, please.
Continue.
And these days, you know, the computer has
this animation sequence. It had a lot of heart to it.
My mother took them to see my kids took the kids to see it, and they all said it's the best movie. It's their favorite. They can't
when did
wait
you
for it
start
to
it?
come out.
Like how many years does it take to make something like this?
To do this one?
Yes.
I was on it for about 5 months, but all in all, it was probably about a year that the studio worked on it. Wow. It takes a long time to do.
Well, I thought it was going to be longer, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they came up with the story of what was going to happen in the animation scene, from them entering in like the fields and then going into the music hall. They gave you that framework, and then you guys had to fill it, or they came up with the script, or
yeah. I mean, the script was first, and it was the very first thing they shot because
really
they know that animation takes so long. So the very first scene that they shot was the music hall scene.
That's really interesting to me because by that time they've established the chemistry together, Mary Poppins with the new set of kids and Lin-Manuel. So that's very interesting that, hey, it's the first day filming this iconic film, and then we're going to make you jump and dance with people that aren't even in the room.
Yeah. Yeah, but it gave us a head start to do all that stuff. And Rob was really, he wanted all these background, and I did tons of background animals. To give it a rich feeling, but it takes its time. And
what was your feeling having such a close relationship with Disney? What was your feeling when you saw like the first footage coming through and you got to see Mary Poppins and you got to see these characters?
It was crazy. We were, just starting on the animation, and they had a rough cut of the teaser trailer, and they showed it to the crew, and there was hardly a dry eye in the house. I mean, everyone was, you know, when he pulls on the string and she comes down, and you know the effects were just, you know, very ropey still, but just that feeling, everyone was like, oh God. I mean, it's crazy. I worked, you know, on this sequel, and I worked on Fantasia 2000.
Right.
You know, also a childhood movie of mine, and I worked on a few classic characters too for the theme parks and stuff, and I take it like you would work with, you know, Bette Davis or Jimmy Stewart or something. You know, when I animate Mickey, it feels like you work with an old star. And I take that very seriously.
That's so cool.
That's so crazy to me. I mean, you literally are responsible for so many of the images that we see that keep some of these characters alive, such as Tinkerbell. I know you were part of the character development for Tinkerbell. Does Disney give you a template and say, here's the proportions, here's what the template is, and then go from here? Or do you have to watch a lot of old footage? How does that even start?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was an established character to start with. But with the Tinkerbell franchise, they knew they were going CG with it, so you had to come up with, you know, ways. So how does her hair actually work? You know, because suddenly they had to texture it all, and I mean, to me, the great thing about 2D animation or traditional animation, which I prefer, because there's nothing 2D about it. What I like is that it is reduced to the simplest form. You know, I don't have to see every frickin', you know, feather on a bird to know it's a bird. You know, that to me doesn't make the character. It's the acting that makes the characters live. You know, it's not like, well, I didn't believe in the Lion King because I didn't see the skin cells on him. I was like, who the hell cares?
Yeah, I'm scared for the live-action remake of Lion King and Aladdin.
Live-action remake, it's all animation still.
See, that's the thing, it still is. Will Smith, they put his face on something else. It's like,
I mean, at least Aladdin has people in it, but the Lion King is,
it's going to be all
animation.
Yeah, it's...
But like with Tinkerbell, do you think, how do you modernize her at all? Or like, does her body shape change, or hair, or you don't discuss that at all, and you want it to be classic?
I try to keep as close as I could. I mean, the directors sometimes had different ideas, but you know, there were a whole lot of new characters to develop, so that was kind of fun.
And do you know that Tinkerbell's body was based off of Marilyn Monroe?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. That is the.
He's here to set me straight. He's like, I actually worked for Disney. I know.
But no, the model was Margaret Carey, who's still around.
And she came in and modeled?
And she modeled, yeah.
Wow. And how'd they pick her? Don't ask.
Well,
okay. Live New Girls.
Live New Girls.
Yeah, live. I just want to live.
Live girls live.
Well, we can tell you how they picked her. We won't get it.
But part of being such a film, that was hard. You know, everybody thought that Mary Poppins was going to be nominated for Best Picture, and Emily Blunt was going to be nominated. You know, that just goes with the territory. If you asked me to invest money as to what films were going to be nominated, I would lose every single season.
Me too.
Because I just don't know anymore. Now, Mike, being part of this Oscar buzz, you've been going to the awards. You've been on stage with rubbing elbows with every celebrity.
It's been crazy, yeah. And for me, especially, because this is my first time doing the awards circuit.
Which is so odd because your whole career has been interviewing all these celebrities. You were one of the only reporters that Kevin Costner stopped at when he was getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. And Kevin Costner's not one of the friendliest people ever, but he stopped for you.
He did.
Because
I asked him the right question. He was getting a Career Achievement Award, and I just said, yeah, and at the time, I mean, he wasn't that old, and I just said, wow, you're getting a Career Achievement. And he said, they said, Mr. Costner's not doing any press tonight. And he was walking by everybody. He was 15 feet away. And I said, Kevin, what's it like being so young, getting a Career Achievement Award? And he turns around, who said that? And then he came back over and did a little interview with me. But
good question.
It's doing it on this side now of the velvet rope, or being on the stage instead of in the back of the room, hoping maybe they'll give you a meal. I mean, the reporters are really... It's great because we, as movie viewers and fans, get a lot of information from them, but they're I don't want to say they're rejects, but they're kind of just waiting to see if they can be a part of it. And even though now I think maybe in the Instagram days it's a little different than when I was doing the red carpet, because they're now all infused and they have followings and things like that. But back then we were almost rejects.
But here's the thing that I think has kind of declined. You know, red carpets to me used to be as fun as the actual award ceremony, and I would be there from the very first person that would walk out of that car, because the red carpet interviews had a personality. And of course we're talking about John Rivers.
So they'd mess up or they would.
Oh man, Joan and Melissa, those were the days, right?
Yeah. I Joan, Melissa, please. It's like saying Shrek 5. I'm not going to see it.
Well, what would you ask yourself if you were interviewing yourself?
Oh, that's a good question, Stan Zimmerman.
That's why I'm here.
God, I don't know. I'm not good at this kind of stuff.
Wow, we stumped him.
Are you making more money finally?
Are you?
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
obviously.
of course.
Okay, well.
But sometimes it depends. I mean, you know, as you know, it's like,
Ups and downs.
But are you actually working? Like versus, you know, so yeah. It's, you know, I was employed most of the time back then.
What I have to say, what I love from your stories, you know, people think, oh, you're in this Oscar-nominated film, you don't need to worry about anything from here on out, or that, oh, I haven't seen Mike Hatton in an A-list film. He's an overnight success. When I know, and through the interviews you've been doing, we see the actual cycle from independent film to stand-up comedy to being the reporter to having Luke Perry pissed off at you, from you having to cover
I love how that's in the timeline now. Yeah.
But you having to cover like an execution. I'm sure you had to do dog shows. I'm sure you had to cut your teeth in this long career. And this is the hard work that it takes, but it's that hard work that you can see, meeting you face to face after watching Green Book literally yesterday, the sincerity that comes through, the hard work that comes through. You can see it on camera. You can see that presence. And I know getting the role in Green Book, even though you had worked with Nick, wasn't just like, okay, you're going to be in the film. I know you weren't going to be in the film.
No, and at one point, I had said to Nick, you know, and I was so familiar with the project. I had read it when it was still at Focus, and then when it was at one time the movie was at Focus Features, and it was going to be made through them, and then there was like a tiny window where it was out, and they didn't know if it was ever going to get made, and so I was like, oh hey, let me know, maybe we can help out. And he was like, yeah, whatever. And then I just kept hitting him up. I just kept staying on him for months. I mean, 6 months. Like, hey, what's going on with Green Book? And he wouldn't talk about it.
Why that piece? What affected you about that?
It's the best script I've ever read. And I mean, like, it's the only, and I read a lot of scripts just as an actor. I want to look at scripts that have been made, scripts that, you know, scripts that are being made, scripts that, as you know, will never be made. And so I read this script and I'm like, man, what a great story. And I just knew Nick, and I just thought, this thing's so awesome. It's got to get made. And I cried when I read it. I'm never that emotionally moved.
A straight white man crying? It must be good.
I did, though. I was on an airplane coming back from New Orleans. I read the script. I mean, this was 6 months before it was even in production, and I thought, man, I got to get in this. And what's even crazier is when I read it, I didn't think, oh, I can be one of these guys. I just assumed that they were going to get a name to play the band. I just thought, and I figured,
even though you played the instrument, you still didn't cast yourself?
I thought they'd fake it. I just assumed it's Hollywood. I mean, that's what we do, right? You find an actor. So I just assumed they were going to find somebody else to be the bassist, and that was it. I didn't know that they would go after well, I mean, they didn't really go after me. I was going after them. But yeah, and I just kept hitting them up saying, get me in. And finally, I mean, the last conversation that we had about it was maybe like 2.5 months before production, and he said, I was like, hey, what's going on with Green Book? The usual thing. And he's like, will you stop asking me about it? Everybody's asking me about it. Everybody wants to be in it. And I was like, hey, man, I'm just trying here, dude. Like, Peter Farrelly's directing this thing, and he's one of the great. I'm a comedy guy. I went to Second City. Peter Farrelly's one of the greatest directors, in my opinion, of all time. I mean, the box office, by the way, would support that statement. I mean, Lacey and Bobby together. And I'm sitting here saying, get me in front of him. I'll read for one line. And he's going, no, you're not going in. And at this point, he already brought in several friends of ours. And I'm going, what the?
Yeah,
can I curse? I'm going, what the fuck, dude? Like, bring me in for a fucking audition already. And I'm screaming at him and I'm outside of my kid's school, but I'm standing like 50 yards away so nobody hears me. I'm going, bring me in, dude. And he's like, I can't. There's nothing for you. There's nothing for you. And finally I say, I'll introduce the band. Bring me in for that. I knew the script well enough. I'd read it. At this point, I've read it several times, and I'm looking for a role. And the bassist just kept, George kept moving past me.
And you play the bass.
I know. And then finally, I say, I'll introduce the band. And he says, oh, wait a minute. Don't you play the bass? I was like, yeah. And it was like, why? And he's like, because Pete wants a real bassist to play. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't think of this. And I'm like, I can't believe I didn't think of this. And then the rest is history. A couple days go by.
But when you're making it, do you think this is an Oscar movie? Or
That's what I want to ask.
Like a little...
Dude, I swear to God, and there's email evidence of this. If one friend of mine posted about it, I sent out an email, and I'm like, to some friends, I'm like, this movie is going to win awards. And in fact, my publicist who's sitting in the room right now, back in August, September, I'm sitting here saying, this thing's going to win awards. I knew it on set, so much so that I might have been the annoying, I mean, I know I'm 40, I'm a grown-ass man, but like, I was the annoying guy going, this is really special. This is fake. This is great, guys.
But was there any of that chat on the set? Was anybody whispering like?
No, not so much like this is gonna win awards, but just we all knew. We kept saying like, wow, everybody's getting along. Like we didn't have any drama. Everybody was friends. Like there was no. The actors, we all hung out. We had lunch together. And even in the small indie movies, it's like that like sometimes like there's just, oh yeah, he's going to his trailer. Oh yeah, he eats lunch by himself. No, I mean on Green Book, everybody got along. Everybody was going out afterwards. Mahershala's got at the time, he still has a young kid, so he wasn't like my kids were 1,000 miles away, so I'm like, hey, what are we doing after work? And Vigo's like, oh, we're going to the wine bar. So we, but it was super. Everybody was bonding. It was super friendly.
And all the road stuff, was that done separately or later or on the road or?
We shot it all in Louisiana, except for they did 1 week. They did 1 week in New York, like a B unit. And Vigo is very meticulous, so he actually drove the car in the New York scenes with somebody else in the back because they couldn't. Mahershala's worked. I mean, he's in a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah,
like
he's
in Alita,
everywhere.
So Vigo drove the car though in New York, and so some of the scenes that are they wanted to get that foliage that you can't, you just couldn't get that in New Orleans. But the crazy thing is we were on the north side of the lake, and it snowed. It actually snowed for the first time in Louisiana in like 30 years, and so they're sitting here saying, this is nuts. We moved around the whole schedule just to get that night. So the scene when you see the writer, who's also an actor, Brian Curry, who had worked previously in Peter Farrelly's films, Brian plays the Rhode Island police officer, and in that, who pulls them over. Yeah. And in that scene was real snow. I mean, you cannot get that, and it's just like I'm getting the chills talking about it. Like you can't. It's just like it's one of those things. Like for people out there who maybe believe in something else up there. It's one of those things where the stars aligned, man. I mean, it was crazy.
So like their apartment at the end, was that down there or in New York?
All of it was in Louisiana.
Wow. Don't tell people that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're in Hollywood, right?
That's it felt so real.
It really did.
Carnegie Hall, and I've seen the real Carnegie Hall. They did a great job. The art directors, the production designers, they did an amazing job recreating it. Yeah.
And Mike, I have to ask, you and I have interviewed celebrities, and I still get starstruck because I love entertainment. It's not that I think, oh my God, somebody is so much better than I am because they've done all these films, but I get so excited that if I meet like a Shirley Jones as one of my heroes that did the show.
I love Shirley Jones.
I love her, and she did such a great episode, by the way. She loves to drink. But I get so excited. So like when you're filming and then Vigo's like, let's go to a wine bar, and you're like, okay, like sitting with Vigo, like what do you plan, or you're like play it cool, so you're like whatever?
Yeah, you do actually at first, and then eventually, it was finally for me. We'd been working for.
Sorry.
No, you can't hear. No, okay. So for a while, we'd been working together for a while, and there was like we were hanging out, and I never did the full on geek out, and then finally. It's the weirdest thing. My wife and my son had came to town, and we shot the scene where I knock on the door and he's eating the whole pizza.
Yeah,
and
I love that scene, by the way.
Oh my God, it's great.
Because you've done it.
Girl, I put a pizza in a pizza. I'm like, it's a taco representing my people. That's what that is.
Well, that's all it is. It's all the same. So, and by the way, my son, who I've been telling for years, hey, fold the pizza. Finally, he's sitting, and Peter Farrelly's such a great guy. He let my son sit in the director's chair during that scene. Like, it's insane, right? And that's a tense scene, and I'm running up and down the hall, like trying to get into character and be like out of breath. And I'm coming from the bar fight, which we had already shot. And I'm just, I'm trying to channel character. My wife and kid are like, we're just over here. And I'm just like, please don't freaking embarrass me. But anyway, so Vigo later that night, when we get done, we shoot that scene at like 2 o'clock in the morning because we worked late that night. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm sitting there, wife's asleep, my son's asleep on the cot. I get an email and it just says Viggo Mortensen. And I'm like, what is going on? It's late, so I open it up. and he says, "Hey, we're all going to the movies tomorrow. I just wanted to invite you and your wife and your son to go to the movies." And I actually had to write back. I wrote him back immediately. I'm like, "Hey, we're going to a fan boat tour of the swamps tomorrow. I can't go." And I know.
Swamps, Viggo Mortensen. Are you kidding? What was the movie, by the way, that they were going to go
Elf.
see?
He loves Elf. Viggo Mortensen loves Elf. Who doesn't love Elf, right? So he really.
Can't stand it.
Okay, well, you know,
I can't stand James Caan though.
James Caan.
He's in it a few times.
So right. So he had the theater. You know, he's like, "Hey, I got the tickets."
It's like
come on
Elvis.
down.
He rents the whole theater.
Yeah.
He's Viggo.
So well, he did it for the cast and the crew. Like, he was inviting everybody in. So he sent me the email, and I wrote back. I had to decline, and then of course, at that point, I'm like, "Man, I'm gonna fucking full on geek out. I have no choice." And I wrote, "I still can't believe that the king of Middle Earth is emailing me at 2 a.m. or whatever." And he actually, and I replied pretty quick.
That's a gamble to send an email like that.
At this point, we were already cool enough. Like, I've had dinners with him, we've had drinks, something, and it's fine. And he wrote back, "It's just me." I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Viggo Mortensen, who I think is one of the greatest actors of all time, certainly one of the greatest humans I've met, who's famous. God, what a great guy.
I love that he takes his time with what roles he's going to do. After Lord of the Rings, he could have hit the market and done action film and bum, but he's an actor. He cares about the acting more than anything else.
He's great, and I know you're probably going to segue now into predictions, but I hope to God he takes that statue home. I know that the odds, and I know all the politics, and I know all of this and all of that, but God, he's so good.
Happen.
He's so
Another
good.
year maybe, but not.
I'm praying
I just
for him,
love
man.
actors who act and don't tell you about it on screen. Like, I'm acting, you know, that just do their job in a subtle way. His performance was so believable. And everywhere from when
it's him.
He flicked gristle off of his coat, from the way that he did this. I mean,
You know about that, don't you?
what?
Flicking gristle.
Oh.
What is gristle? I don't even know what that is.
Because I'm a husky lady.
I didn't say
How
that.
dare you, Stan
What
Zimmerman?
is gristle? What are you talking about, gristle? What is
But if you listen to those Tony Lip tapes, there's
just said
that's
that.
gristle. Yeah, if you listen to those tapes now, like, and you can hear the way that Nick's father really spoke, then it's one of those things where you can go, holy shit, he sounds exactly like Tony Lip. He embodies him. If you watch, The Sopranos and the thing,
I didn't know that Tony Lip had this whole acting career.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys know
I
that?
read about it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you can. He really sounds exactly like him. The volume and the mannerisms, and I know I'm partial. I know I'm drinking the punch, but God, I hope he wins. Anyways,
But Mike, coming at it from this history with improv, which is so important for any performer, I hate doing improv because I'm so bad at it. I am so bad at improv.
you'd be great
It
at
makes
it.
me,
God, I hate
everybody says
memorizing.
that.
I hate memorizing lines. I would so much rather do improv.
But then you're on the set, which is like, you have A-listers you're working with, and you have a set schedule, you're on location. It's all of this. Then you have this whole like reporter point of view. Then you used to be like a power lifter.
Oh my, yeah, in high school, yeah.
I mean, you have all these different facets, but you're doing what you need to do like on set. How much of improv affects your acting style?
Oh man, I mean, I think I'm heavily influenced by improv. I think I think that's my go-to. If and look, as an actor, I try always to think about it from an improviser's point of view first. I mean, obviously you want to respect what's on the page. And you have to acknowledge the character that was written for you. But if you can bring something else to it by thinking like the character and thinking, well, what would the character do next? I mean, I think it's a huge opportunity. And I love the directors, especially Peter Farrelly, who's at least was, and truthfully, we didn't do a ton of improv, but he did let me improvise a line in Green Book, and it actually made the final cut. And I'm forever grateful because he picked it up out of our rehearsal.
What was the line?
Yeah.
When I'm getting I'm gonna screw it up just like I did when we
The
actually
Writers Guild is
counted.
calling on
I know.
the line.
No, well, I mean at the end he tweaks it. He hears it and he's like, what were you doing there? And he came out and he spotted it, because what happened was in the rehearsal I missed a mark. Well, I didn't miss it actually. The camera was 15 feet away and I hit the mark and we were supposed to be done there, but the camera was still away, so we just kept walking, and it's where we're walking down the street, and I said that I didn't want to leave Dr. Shirley in the bar. I don't remember the exact line, but I say I didn't want to leave him there, but I didn't know what to do. And what happened was we were short of the mark. And so the camera, you know, the track had already been, you know, 15 feet down. And I thought, well, I got 15 feet of space, and I'm either going to stop talking now or I'm just going to keep talking. So I just kept talking. And then the crazy thing was, he's like, that's great. Maybe try it like this. And so then the writers, he and Nick and Brian, they kind of converse for a minute, and they're like, yeah, that's great, but try it like this. And then, but they weren't rolling on that. They weren't rolling on the rehearsal. So I do it again, and I fucked it up. And then I did it again, and I fucked it up. So now it's 2 takes in. We're almost to lunch. I mean, you know how it is. Pressure's on. Yeah. It's literally only me and Vigo. Vigo's just like, you got this. And I'm like, Viggo Mortensen's telling me I got this. And then the next take, I finally, and Peter Farrelly looked at Nick at one point, and he goes, this is your guy. And he did it so I could hear him, and he's totally kidding around. And he's like, this is your guy. Are you sure he's okay? And then, yeah, I got it on the next take.
And do they give you research because it's a real people? Like, how does that work?
Well, there were a couple of different bases. So they didn't going into it. We just read what was there, and then I did some research, and I saw that there were a couple different bases of the band. And George was a combination, I guess, of inspired by. He wasn't the 2 real guys.
But they expect you to do the homework? Or
they didn't. They didn't. No, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't give me any heads up. I just took what I had liked, I guess, from those guys. And truthfully, I didn't take much. They were both classically trained kind of guys, and like outside of their musical biographies, I really didn't have much to work with, so I just assumed this is a touring musician. He's Good Time Charlie, and I really only made that choice because Dmitry Marinov, who's amazing, who played Oleg, was such a stick in the mud, and George on the page was kind of just like maybe a little snobby, and I thought, well, you can't have 2 unapproachable guys. So I made the choice really early in that George was going to be a little softer, and literally a little pudgier. I put on a little weight. At first we were going to lose weight, and then I'm like, nah, I got to gain weight. And so, I tried to make George more approachable, which then ended up working because you see that Viggo eventually confides in George, and then George ends up making the choice to go to Viggo right away, or to Tony right away. And so you see that there's a relationship there, at least where you feel like he has access to the band, even though the whole time Oleg's watching him. So,
well, I found this film
so
enchanting.
Unfolded nicely, didn't it? It just so easily.
It really did. That's what it was. It was like Hollywood can tell a nice story, be political without hitting you over the head with it.
Right,
like
not heavy-handed. Brian Curry always says, "Is like we don't want this too heavy-handed, guys." He's got a little bit of a East Coast accent, you know. He's from
didn't you expect that? Like, I'll have this big awakening because we're so trained in the Hollywood movies, and it just slowly peeled and peeled and peeled. It was really lovely.
It told the story. It told the story the way that every film should do, with everything at its top level, and that's why it's nominated for Best Picture. The whole creative process just intoxicates me so much to hear about. And Andreas, I want to talk about your creative process. You know, working for studios, you have your own artistry and your own point of view. Kurt, can you play some footage from some of his career? But you also have your own point of view, your own animation. When you're not having to work, and I know, you know, this is your bread and butter, so you're always working for studio, and it takes a year, 2 years, whatever, for a project. But when you're drawing on your own, and what is it that you're drawing?
Oh, good question. Naked Men.
Oh, boy. Kurt,
that's the sequel to Live Nude Girls.
Can you
Live Naked Men.
Yes.
Can Kurt show that?
No. You've seen it, Stan Zimmerman.
We'd like to see your X-rated work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was Fantasia 2000.
Which was a whole was a whole new section.
Yeah. This section actually wasn't. It was a standalone short at first, but Roy Disney liked it so much that he wanted it in the feature, and it got added at a later point. So it's fun to animate to music, which was, you know, I try to hit like. There's a little bit where he drinks the coffee, and I made the steam rise to the half notes.
It's like your script without there being the actual words, and you get to interpret that yourself.
To a point, yeah.
But at home, when you're drawing and you're sketching, what things are you drawn to besides nude men? Are you drawn to figures in pop culture? Are you drawn to to still life. What is it that you're drawing on your own?
Still life, and I'm not a great painter. I've always been a line drawing kind of guy. It always interests me the most. As a character animator, that is what I like. What do I draw? I've been drawing Barbara for 30 years in various...
Streisand?
Oh, the one, yes.
Is there any other Barbara?
The holy
Barbara. Barbara Bush. It's a weird fetish.
For bears.
Yes.
Is there a female bear? What would that be?
A lady bear.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, like Roseanne would be she used to be a lady bear, but like that's a lady
Barbara
bear.
Feldon, Barbara... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's
okay.
way...
Okay.
Brenda Vaccaro is more like
okay.
Now, do you remember some of the earliest sketches that you would do when you were a kid? Like, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with drawing eyes, from the eyelashes to the eyelids, and I would draw them over everything that I could do. Do you remember some of the first things that you sketched?
Yeah, I kind of drew some celebrities and cartoon characters, obviously, and I wasn't very good at it, to be honest. And I never thought I would have a career in it. And it was, I copied some drawings, and I showed it to someone who was actually a graphic designer, and he said, you can learn this stuff. You just have to put the time in and do a live drawing and all that. And that was, to me, that was a big step, because I thought you either have the talent or you don't. I never knew that you could actually work at it. That got me really... And I wrote to the Disney studios when I was 15 or so. And 6 months later, I got a reply from one of the directors, and he just said, go to art school, learn how to draw, and you'll find it a very rewarding career. And I did,
and
so far.
And you've had this long-lasting relationship with Disney. What was your first footstep into Disney? Was it being the ambassador at the Epcot Center?
It was, and it was only because I've never been to a Disney theme park till then. There was no Disney Paris, obviously.
Yeah.
And
how old were you when you got that? If you don't mind me.
I want to say 16, but no, I was 24. I was the oldest one there, actually.
Really?
But, so a friend of mine told me, do you know that there's this program where you can sign up and be like, you have to dress up in lederhosen and work at the German pavilion. But
you're like, I already got them.
Ready to go.
Let me look at my closet.
And?
Yes. Monday through Friday was lederhosen. Saturday and Sunday was leather. I know you're German.
But yeah, it was great for me, and it was, it was great for me to learn English properly, because I had to actually speak to people. It's one thing to learn it in school, but you never have to actually talk.
Yeah.
But to stand there and answer questions, well, most of it was, where are the restrooms, and are you really German? That was my favorite. There were loads of people who were like, you're not really German, right? You learn the accent. They thought Disney trained us to speak with an accent.
Why?
Because Disney owns the world and they can do whatever.
We're the only real thing in Epcot, so...
And then began this long career where you've animated, like I said, for Hercules and Tarzan, Princess and the Frog. Your films are a part of Disney history, part of films that generation after generation
I'm a small part of the machine, but it is interesting now, because I... see myself still as being young, foolishly. But then I meet students and they're like, oh my God, you worked on the favorite movies of my childhood. But it's really flattering, and I never think of it that way. To me, it doesn't seem that long ago, but it is 20 years ago.
We have a fun picture. It's a throwback picture. You at Disneyland when you were very young, and you kind of get photobombed here by Roy Disney.
That was my,
That's
it was
crazy.
just after Disneyland Paris opened. And it was rainy, as you could see. It was rainy, it was awful weather, and it was hardly any people there. And I said to my niece, there's Roy Disney over there. No one recognized him.
Yeah.
So, of course, I ran over, being a total geek.
But how crazy. This picture is a big part of your life and your career, the whole Disney relationship.
Kind of,
Although, I think you almost had a career as a dancer. I think
really?
I think we found a picture.
What kind of dancer?
Look at this. Here we go.
There I am.
Look at him go.
Ballroom.
It's like Fred Astaire. You did a lot of ballroom dancing, right?
I did ballroom dancing from when I was 7 till I basically left Germany till I was 24. But it was really my brother who was. My brother was the national coach,
a professional
in Germany.
competitor. Yeah.
He was a multiple world champion. So.
Wow.
What's he doing now?
He's dead.
Oh well.
Thank you.
Sorry. Just to add some levity to that. Sorry.
Dancing in the sky.
Yes.
Yes.
I love your German way of letting us down softly with that too, by the way.
Boom.
Boom. Okay, you guys, let's talk about the Oscars.
Oh yes, let's.
I don't know what the hell is going on over at the Academy. Like we said, this year was a year for many firsts.
Crazy.
The Kevin Hart situation. The Kevin Hart first, and then host situation, having musical performances cut, then deciding to give awards out during the commercials. Awards that, although not the most Oscar buzz, make films what a film is. Otherwise,
cinematography.
Yes, and otherwise we're having actors walking around taking selfies.
That's crazy.
It's so unbelievable to me. It's like that there's this younger generation in charge that doesn't know what the Oscars should be and the history that they have. Now, we know as a whole, awards for the last 2 years have plummeted in ratings. Lowest Emmys, lowest Golden Globes, Tonys. Tonys is actually kind of, well, that's because you have Maroon 5, which was 5 Maroons too many.
First one I haven't watched in a long time.
You know, I actually watch football for football. I'm a huge football fan. This game was so boring, and then the halftime, I'm like, there's nothing for the gays. What do you want us to do?
What was your take on the Kevin Hart?
Well, and let's all give our opinion. Number one, you know, the Oscars used to have some class to it, and it didn't have to appeal to the mainstream and low-hanging fruit in terms of jokes. Yeah. Now we're so politically correct. Not that the Oscars were ever so rude or like... We've become too mainstream and too...
Scared,
but too tangible. The Oscars would be like, wow, look at them in that outfit, and they were presented regally, and it was just a regal event. Yeah. All of that has stripped away. It'd be like if you had beers with the Queen of England. All of that royalty sense is stripped away. And that's what happened with the whole Kevin Hart thing. And the Academy had an opportunity to turn that all around and say, great, we're going to have a positive celebrity who's making waves in terms of women equality, LGBT equality, or other minority equality. They had the opportunity to do that. And instead they're like, no, we're not going to do anything.
But couldn't he have done something to make it...
Screw him. He's not the...
Okay.
He spoke for himself, and he chose that. But we're talking about the Academy Awards.
Well, who would you have put in his place? I'm just curious.
Well, that's a good question. I would have loved to have brought back Steve Martin and Martin Short, or Billy Crystal, or even...
But here's the thing, and I love Billy Crystal. Yeah. I love all of them. Like, and I saw Babalu Mandel the other night get the WGA award. I'm a huge fan of those guys. I'm a huge fan of all of them, but... That just also shows that, like, you might be fond of that, but that's the Academy, I think, already is having a disconnect. They're having a disconnect with the younger viewers. So it's like if they go back and get somebody like Billy, who's great, or Steve Martin, who's awesome, nobody gives a shit. Like, the kids don't give a shit. And, like, that's the next gen. I remember as a kid watching the Academy Awards being like, this is the greatest thing. I want to be there. I mean, I've wanted to go to the Oscars my entire life.
But I think the young generation will tune in because they have the cast of Black Panther being there, and they have Lady Gaga, you know, is performing now with Bradley Cooper. But I think they're going to watch because of that. So let's show that younger generation what an Academy Awards should look like.
Like a handoff, right? Like a passing of the... Well, I heard they went to The Rock. Did you hear that? I guess The Rock had said that he was... The Rock said he was approached.
That would send me over.
I'm saying
sorry.
I'm not saying he's a host.
Well, that's a good question. I don't even know.
Did Ellen ever host? Ellen hosted, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that she's way the opposite. It's like, okay, let's make this statement now, which I don't think we should be making a statement with the host. We should have a good host that respects Hollywood at large and the process, who is funny. We don't need them to do this the whole time. We need them to facilitate a show where we're honoring
singing,
like
dancing?
Song and dance. I know if Kevin Hart was going to host it, it'd be like funny Trump jokes, or it'd be funny, you know, like I said, low-hanging fruit jokes, and that's not what the Academy Awards is.
No.
I also don't, for my personal taste, I don't think it has to be a comedian. It's not a comedy show. I mean, you get a frickin' monologue every bloody night
Yeah.
on any
talk show. Yeah, good point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You don't need another monologue. I mean, you really don't.
What do you need?
It was like you said, it was.
You're like, I want to write that monologue.
When it was Bob Hope or someone like that.
Yeah.
Because
of
didn't
course you
have
could
that.
find an equivalent today, but yes, they had their quips. But it wasn't like a stand-up comedy routine, and I don't think it needs that.
Well, remember the year Anne Hathaway and James Franco hosted,
Oh
right?
my
Wasn't
God.
that?
Don't
I
bring
mean,
that up.
like no, that's
Don't
no.
talk about
Well, I
it.
want to bring it up because it was
Poor
terrible.
Anne.
Like,
I
and I
felt
love
Terrible.
both of them.
But
It was terrible.
I was
though.
excited for it, but then they thought it was an SNL skit night, and
Yeah.
it wasn't. And we both know Bruce Valanche very closely.
I love Bruce, by the way.
I love Bruce
Not in the way
too,
you'd like
and
me
he
to,
loves
but-
me too, but not in the same way.
That's what I was saying.
really?
Not in the way you'd like me to.
But like, what if we had a Helen Mirren and an Emma Stone as our hosts?
Oh, that would be great.
Because they're personable, they're funny without being comedians. But I would love for the nights to be filled with behind the scenes little tidbits like the Green Book. Did you know, here's some facts about behind the scenes. That would fascinate me and carry us through the different scenes. But that wasn't the Oscars' first misstep this season. Also, we're cutting the musical performances down. Now, do you guys think it's because of sponsors? It's because ratings are low and they can't go over? Like, what is happening? And then giving awards away during commercials. Who's making these decisions, by the way?
Don't get me started. I mean,
as a member,
yeah, no, I want to know.
I can imagine the stuff you're
the
hearing.
last couple of years, every major announcement they made, they had to take back. I mean,
I feel like Trump is in charge of the Academy. It's like, let's just say what we feel, and then like, never mind.
We're gonna put it during the break. It's going on during the break.
Biggest show ever.
Nobody cares about cameras.
Good.
That's really good.
Oh well,
Can you tweet real fast?
Yeah.
The thing with the popular Oscar that they announced.
That was so stupid.
And then there was all the question that came. Okay, how is this? Who votes for it? How do you say what's popular? Is it box office? What does that mean? There were no answers. How do you announce something like that without actually having done any work?
And why is it necessary?
I shouldn't say this, I guess, but I do.
No. I mean, you can't say how you voted, but you can certainly give your opinion.
I mean,
but who is making these decisions? I want to know. And as an Academy member, are you seeing the news as we see it, or do they send emails? That's so weird to me.
That's crazy. You'd think
we
you'd
get
have
it
a
on the
say.
same day, so it's like, what?
And unfortunately, all this drama, it's like the Mean Girls. All this media drama has affected, I think, what people should be paying attention to, which is the best pictures. I really want your guys to take. We couldn't be more different if we tried, and that's what I love about On the Rocks is we bring people together that would normally never sit across from each other. But we all have entertainment in our bloods. We've all done stuff in entertainment with different aspects. So I want to know what your thoughts are on who has been chosen this season, and what were some of the movies that affected you? What are some of the movies that surprised you that were voted for?
Vice surprised me because that was a huge undertaking to do that and not feel cartoonish.
Yeah.
I mean, they really got under the skin of those people, and I was just fascinated by the way that was the story that was told, and the sense of humor about it, and the actors. And I'm not a huge Amy Adams fan. I'm like, wow.
Really?
Oh, I'm not either.
It's easy,
Wow,
it's
I
easy
love
to
Amy
make fun of
Adams.
her. Yeah.
Did you watch the HBO show yet? She's amazing.
Sharp Objects?
No.
I thought she was great.
How about Sharp Objects? Dull Time.
I was so bored.
It was so boring. The only thing that kept me in it was Patricia Clarkson, and even her.
She was great.
And
she was like,
I
I
like
leave
her.
set now.
And I still want to know how she got that stuff on her back.
I don't even care.
How did she?
Oh, I forget
Like the
that.
marks
There's
on her
a.
back.
I still don't understand the whole Sandra Bullock blindfold thing. But
Oh, I love that movie. It was just
what?
fun.
Huh? I don't. Whatever. So Vice.
But Amy Adams, she always looks like she's ready to cry. She was
But
those
it was
big
a
watery eyes.
great-
Oh, I love Amy.
But
You
it
know
was a
what?
great role for her,
Disagree to
and she
disagree.
just the way she did it was just right. It wasn't too much. So, and Christian Bale, I think, I mean, he really should win, but you can just see the tide. It's not going to happen.
No,
but
it's
I mean,
not
that is amazing.
Well, people
For
don't
him
like
to-
Christian Bale in Hollywood.
But
Number
the
one.
way he went from just the young to the, I mean, that's
I love Christian Bale, and he's great.
incredible.
He's a great actor. We can all
He's
agree
one of
on
the
that.
greatest of all time.
That role, to do that.
He's great. I mean, like, look at the Golden Globes. Look at the speech. I mean, like, he's got that. You want to talk about disconnect? I mean, I could see voters just being like, "No, I'm going to vote a
But
different way
that's a
because
part
of
of it.
that."
It's not just about the performance.
No.
It's
Oh,
about
no.
so much
No, and
more.
that's the problem
And
with the
that's
whole
well,
system,
that's why
you
you
know?
just have to laugh at it, and it's just fun. It's just a fun, silly thing.
It is,
Yeah.
and
You
it's
can't take it
totally
seriously.
subjective. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
there is no best actor.
No.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, you know,
Although Viggo Mortensen is. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, but even there, you know, it's like, to me, those two guys hold the movie together equally. So one is supporting actor,
right.
one is lead actor.
Right.
It's a totally political thing because if they put them both in supporting actor, they would split the votes. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
But
I mean, they could have just gone the other way.
Supporting.
I think Mahershala is going to win supporting, and I think he should. I think he's amazing.
I'm gonna.
No,
What?
please.
You don't think he'll win?
I honestly thought he was a weak point in the film.
Whoa! Wow!
What? No,
I'm
he's
just human.
amazing.
I paid my $20 just like everybody else did.
Good thing
No, you did. You got a screener.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's so.
Excuse me. I'm on Amazon Prime. Probably I'll be canceled after this. Ollie's family will be like, he's out. No, but I just thought he entered in with such a hyper. Like we knew he was acting. He was playing the I'm this and I don't eat fried chicken. He was playing at it, and I saw him acting. Whereas Viggo, I mean, I could almost smell Viggo. I could almost like hang out with Viggo.
You wanted to smell Viggo.
Well, no, he was. He's a bear. I like a wolf or a panda. Anyway, Panda Express. Anyway, and so I'm just being honest about how I love the film, but he was very affected. I saw him acting.
I mean, to me, that is the character.
Man, I don't know. I don't know.
To survive.
He is affected.
Yes.
I mean, he puts on
which I get, but everything was so. It was like musical theater to me. Was his performance?
Let me maybe change your mind.
Yeah.
Mahershala doesn't drink. When he's drunk in the movie, I'm like, God damn, he sounds drunk. I don't even think Mahershala has ever been drunk. I mean, just like, I'm like, I don't even know if I could play. I'll probably get drunk tonight. I don't think
drunk
that.
now. What are you
I'm a little
about?
tipsy right now. No,
he's going to be on the sofa tonight. Speaking of which,
I think I know. I'll take a little bit. So I just, man, the guy's never even had a drink. For him to play drunk and actually have me convinced that. I think he's amazing, man. I know I'm drinking the punch, but God, he's good.
On the other hand, I want to throw in Richard E. Grant. I thought he was wonderful.
Really?
Oh, incredible. I love Richard E. Grant. I've been a fan of Richard E. Grant since, what's the one he did with Bruce Willis? And
Sandra Bernhardt thing?
Yes, he was great as the bad guy in Hudson Hawk. Yes, Jinx. I got the Coke in my hand.
I'm going to win this one.
Jesus Christ, you're Jewish. Should you even be saying that?
Hudson Hawk?
No, Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. It's the last line of the Torah. Thou shalt not take the Hudson Hawk name in vain.
But other than Green Book, obviously, and Andreas, I want to know what movies really affected you this award season. Do you think there were any films that shouldn't have?
Can I just talk about my home country?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Never Look Away. Have you seen it? It's nominated for foreign film.
I saw the trailer.
It blew me away. Wow. And can I just say, I was bored with Roma. Sorry, kill me.
So let's talk about this.
Yeah. All I remember Roma.
Doma?
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
He said
no, it's because all I remember is the dog shit. It's all I remember from that movie. It's the endless shot of that
car going through
dog shit.
Every time the car went
through. But no. You don't think that was symbolism for what was going on? I thought how do you say mundane?
Minutia? What?
Yeah, the minutia of it and some of the slowness. I love Roma so much, and you have to say I'm never political at all because I'm not intelligent enough about certain things. And like I said, I don't like politics to hit you over the head. I'm from the LGBT community. I don't need to be hit over the head with LGBT themes. I just don't. Like I want to see a story told like Green Book. But I thought Roma, the presentation of Roma was such a statement, and I have to say from my friends that understood what the director was doing, and the ones that were like, "Oh God, it was so boring." It's actually a black and white separation as to the Latin culture versus the Caucasian culture versus people that know what that film was talking about in terms of the time period. The slowness of it was supposed to show you how isolated. Well, and I'm not telling you. I mean, you know films backwards and forwards. But what it did for me was that it created that idea of isolation and suffocation and this rote that no matter what you're going through, this is your life over and over.
Turning the lights off.
Yeah,
just that they
the
took
dog
the
shit
time.
on the floor,
Oh
having
my
to do this car. It's like
that was her life.
Yeah, even
walking
everything,
up the stairs, she had to go you felt it.
And it added
You're
to that.
You're selling me on it now because I actually like maybe I'm like wow maybe I should
Did you
like
see how they
reconsider this.
made the street when she runs through the street to the movie theater? That was all created. I thought, how do they do that on a real street? And they made that.
Oh yeah, I saw that that was all set. Yeah, how crazy is
he's
that?
gotta win
Yeah.
for
And the
that.
fact
Come
that it
on.
was in black and white.
Well, they're up for production
Beautiful.
design, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and he's up for director, and it's up for foreign film and best picture.
And he's great. He's incredible and awesome. I don't know, man.
But I think it is this divide, and like I said, this is not who I am to say this. I think it really is the divide of somebody from the Latin culture versus somebody from the Caucasian culture. Well,
another culture.
That's interesting.
Well, no. But you're from this other culture that has also been
persecuted.
put in a yeah. And that's what I thought this film was about. It was supposed to make you feel like, God, is this all it is? Because this is all it was. After the character went through that whole horrific thing, which that scene in the hospital, everything was fast, and the dialogue.
What about the water? Didn't you think something really bad was going to happen?
Somebody was talking about the wasting of water on the set of Roma. I'm like, what?
Well, and this was set during the climate of the Olympics in Mexico in the 70s, where they shot students so that they wouldn't be seen in the mainstream media protesting. And so this is what life was like. You had this traumatic experience. You had people living in shacks in the shit, but then they still had to go to work, and they still had to work from this class separation from middle class, which that house wasn't even that great. They weren't that rich, from the poor. There's no like we have here, where middle class kind of blends into lower class, sometimes can reach up to higher class. It was so stark and so black and white and mundane, and I thought the acting was so natural, like Viggo's performance. The acting was like, I felt like I was watching, like I was peeking
Real
in.
people.
Yeah, and the sweeping shots, and that it wasn't. Anyway, I could go on and on about that, but
when
that's
she goes
what I
looking
took.
for the guy, and he's playing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
and
things
so
that you're
mean
like,
to her.
why is that scene there? Like, why did she do that? And then at the end, the scene with the beach, and it was such a metaphor. Oh God, it was so beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful film. Will I watch it for a second time? No.
Look, it's great that they're making films like this now that are opening up different visions, different perspectives on life, and stuff that none of us, too woke us, right? Isn't that the thing that all the kids are saying to make
Stay
us
woke.
Yeah, and like
You're in with the kids.
All the kids.
Tell that to Luke Perry. Are you woke, Luke Perry?
Luke, are you woke? But no, I mean it's good that they're doing this now. But but I mean at the end of the day, with awards, like that's awesome. I'm just saying, what's a better movie? Like what? It's about the movie. I don't think it's about the message. And I think Roma's got a great message. I think Green Book's got, obviously. I think Green Book is a wonderful message. I've been talking about it for 5 months on interviews and stuff. But and forget Green Book. Go on.
And I didn't see what the black and white added. I mean, I know it's supposed to be, because when I think of the 70s, that's why it didn't feel like the 70s to me.
I mean, the 70s
were
are
all
colorful,
about color.
right? Yeah.
All about color.
But what I think that they were trying to say
Especially
is
in
how
Mexico.
drab life was. There was no color
Well,
to their lives. There was no excitement. There was nothing to look forward to. There was no little joys for them to experience.
Well, okay.
But I saw the color in the black and white for me.
Well,
he got a cinematography nod,
Actually,
right?
apparently it was shot in color, right? And they graded.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, serious? Really?
Yeah,
I took it out. Yeah.
I just read about it, and it was shot in color.
Well, it's almost easier to do that now, right? I mean, all the cameras are. I mean, I don't know what he shot it on. Was it
He could do it on Facetune.
No, that was going back to Green Book. That was a great thing, especially on that budget, to make it look that.
The colors in that were so
Sean
beautiful.
Porter.
Period movies are
so
not.
beautiful.
I said this comment the
easy,
minute walking
and
out. I was like, it was a
looks-
period film without looking like a period film. It wasn't like everything's glossy and like everything's way in your face. It was so subtle in each of the little.
But it also
Sean Porter,
feels
he's
to me
amazing.
Like, it feels to me like the right time period.
Yeah. Even the body types and the way that the suits fit.
But the color of the car, everything.
Everything.
So
because it was a rented Cadillac. Was the new? Oh
yeah.
God, yes. Oh,
Yeah,
I
it
could
was
go on
really
and on.
beautiful to watch.
Real fast, but a few real fast comments. But to your point, it's like, remember when Best Picture was like Best Picture? I'm talking about The Color Purple, Schindler's List. Of course, I just named 2 Spielberg films, but pictures that like had some weight to it.
Right.
I feel that we're weightless this award season. As much as I loved Green Book,
maybe.
it was a great film, and every film should be great. You know.
Do you like that they have the big category with that many in it?
No,
I don't either.
No, not at all.
Make it 5. What is this? 7, 8? What is that?
And I know Black Panther and I've gotten so many hate emails about this, and I go on record. I'm not racist. Hello. I don't think Black Panther belongs anywhere near Best Picture. I thought the script was poor. I thought the acting was poor. But media decided that this should be talked about and be Best Picture, and so everybody had to jump on the bandwagon, or else you were seen as racist or as. Am I the only?
I like, you know what? I like them. I like the comic book movies. So I have because maybe it's because I have a kid.
I mean, at the end of the day, what is Best Picture? Do they have to be weighty? I don't know. I mean, if they deliver what they set out to do, then they're a good movie to me.
And is the Best Picture that it speaks to our time today, and so
it's certainly the best. Here's the thing,
but that script was awful, by the way.
Comic book movies have made.
I love comic book movies, so.
But they've made the town a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm saying though, they made the town a lot of money. They've been around now. They're kind of a normal thing. And let's be honest, this is. I mean, look, even though I'm a little partial to Guardians of the Galaxy as far as comic book movies go, this is probably the best comic book movie of all time. So maybe it was time to embrace them and let them into the category. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, by the way. I don't think it's one of the best pictures.
Also, you were just
here.
seeing a whole new world that you'd never seen in a comic
Right. You know,
book. That was
totally different thing. But one category I always find very difficult is adapted screenplay, because I think you can only really tell if it's that category if you know the source material.
That's a good point.
You know, because it's not best screenplay, it's best adapted. So, like, for example, when I read Crazy Rich Asians, and then I saw the movie, I thought,
should we talk about that film?
They really adapted the source material.
No, let's not get in trouble with that. That's a safe.
No, they took the source material and adapted it really well and made it actually better than the novel was.
Oh, I hate to read that novel.
I didn't know there was a novel.
Yeah.
Wait,
There's
I thought it was a graphic novel.
But
there were so many tones in that movie. Everyone was acting in a different tone to me.
It was so uncohesive, and again, the script was a big problem to me. It just, I did not enjoy it, because I was ready to enjoy it and love it. But again, if you say you hate it, and this is like, almost like the reverse witch hunt in Hollywood. You know, if you say you hate something that's culturally being put on a pedestal, then you're seen a certain way, and you're put in a box. It's like, no, I'm talking about it like a film, because it's a film, and it should be talked about from writing, acting, directing, cinematography.
But why didn't you like it? What specifically?
I thought the script was bad. It wasn't funny. The acting was horrible. Like you said, everybody was on a different.
It was, you know, well, I will say the movie overall was not funny, but Awkwafina is hilarious.
Oh.
So she's.
But that was a different tone than everybody
They almost
else
just give her own movie.
I want to just
they had to have something funny, and it was supposed to be a rom-com, right? Somebody had to bring the com to the rom.
She was fantastic.
Yeah.
She needs her own TV show.
Yes. You guys, the show has
going.
I know, because I could talk about it with you guys, because we all have different opinions, but we all have reasons for it. It's not like I hated it and boom, boom, boom.
Beale Street. Beale Street.
I didn't see it.
I did see it.
You did?
I did. Yeah.
Andreas has seen everything. Literally, he sees everything. How do you get invited to all these?
I thought it was beautiful. But
beautiful.
If I want to, one thing is,
do it.
I wish, you know.
Yeah, it was a
some scenes.
Film,
you were like, okay, cut.
We get it. Yeah.
But it looks
that scene
beautiful.
in the apartment.
Acting
when they tell
is great.
About the baby. That was a great scene.
Yeah.
There were some great scenes.
It is. I mean,
but yeah.
I have to see it. What films coming up are you guys most excited about?
I can tell you what I'm not excited
Green
about.
Book 2.
Shit Book. That's the second car.
The blue book.
The other car.
Blue book.
Yeah.
I mean, the good stuff, you know, we have to wait till the end of the year, but now it's the time of more superhero movies and
we're going into summer.
Bastardizations of Disney classics.
Would you pick one that you would want to do?
I mean, a friend of mine, you know, have you seen the teaser for Dumbo?
I have seen 3 different trailers.
And she said the color palette is elephant shit. And
it really is.
It is.
Somebody put the wrong filter on it.
Especially Dumbo is the simplest, most colorful of the Disney features.
The eyes. Remember
and
the
now
eyes
it's
in the
like
cartoon?
some horror movie.
It is.
Okay, enough said.
Okay.
But I think live action is like, you know, and I understand Hollywood needs to make money, but that's all it's about. So let's churn out these superhero films as fast as we can. Yeah. Who cares about the script? Put it out there. We got the names. It'll take care of itself.
Well, no, we saw that backfired with the DC universe. We saw that. Well, I mean, I know they make money, but like, they're not.
I don't know why that made.
I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen it, so I'm sure
It was a fun film. I actually enjoyed it because it was a fun film to watch.
You liked
Didn't make
it?
any sense. Acting was horrible. Nicole Kidman, what the hell?
I liked how she got older. She only got gray hair, but she still didn't have
Wait, Andreas.
any wrinkles.
So I'm not going to give anything away, Mike, but I love at the end, she shows up in a ball gown. I was like, bitch, you've been away for how many years? Where was that, like, in your back pocket? People are fighting a war, and she's like, let me get dressed in my finest
Let me
ball
tell you,
gown.
I would not be mad. I would not be mad if you spoiled Aquaman. My twin
Oh, it was
brother.
spoiled when they cast it.
Yeah, he spoiled $1 Million Baby for me. He was like, yeah.
Oh, that's a bad spoil.
He was like, yeah, she's dead. I'm like, really? Why would you do that to me? So I never actually finished it.
You guys, I could literally talk about movies all the
Mr.
time.
Rogers, how did that not get nominated? Did you see that?
Oh,
Did you like-
wait, for documentary?
That was a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
documentary.
I thought you meant like Tom Hanks.
No.
Has that come out yet?
No.
No.
RBG? Is that going to win?
On the basis of sex, why wasn't, I mean, that's another one that
Yeah.
people were like, why wasn't that nominated? I mean,
I don't know. But here's the thing: is like you just don't know. You don't know what's going to be a big hit.
No, you don't.
You don't. You just.
Even with Mary Poppins, I thought it would be a bigger hit. Than
I thought it
actually
was going to be. It was going to sweep the Oscars. I thought everything.
But then I talked to so many people, even friends, and like, have you seen it yet? Oh no, I didn't get around yet. Like,
I thought for sure.
The fuck are you waiting for?
Because you think it's a kid's film, so maybe that's.
I thought for sure it would get. I can't believe it didn't get nominated.
Well, I have my issues with it, but regardless of my opinion,
I'm surprised,
I
though.
think because of all the marketing buzz that it would have been up there.
That's what I thought.
And Bette Midler's going to sing?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, that's
Queen's going to
exciting.
perform. I'm excited.
So
I've
here's
never
the thing.
seen. Well,
They
with
offered-
Adam Lambert.
Yeah. They offered Queen to open the Oscars, and then they said no, and then they just changed their mind 2 days ago to perform.
I'm
So
pumped, man.
they're
I'm
gonna be
really.
performing.
I've never seen Queen, so I'm really
That's gonna
excited.
be great.
I like Bohemian Rhapsody.
And how do you feel about them changing the ending? You know that he didn't have AIDS at the Live Aid concert. You know that?
Oh, I do know that, but
yeah.
the
They
community
changed
was
it.
not having it. That would have been
No,
the
yeah.
biggest stupid thing they could do. Bohemian Rhapsody was such a paint by numbers film. You have your but you have like your bookshelf like flashback, and then you have
Stars Born. Did you like that?
No.
Eesh, yeah.
Oh my God, A Star is boring.
Oh.
Okay, you guys.
Star is Born. That is one I don't get.
Beef
Yeah.
is what's
When
for
they
dinner.
sing together, that's pretty special.
Well, yeah. But
Well, they're gonna perform, so that'll be.
to me, the first half is good. The second half totally sucks.
Yeah.
I just think, why do it again?
Unless you're going to tell a new story about the
There's
music
no-
I was
industry now,
excited though,
today, yeah.
but like you said, the first half I was excited because I was like, this is a new telling, and I was really enjoying it.
did.
And then it just was like, let's finish this up. Okay, you guys. So we have to finish up. Kurt has to go home to his wife because he can actually sleep in the bed, not on the sofa. Mike Hatton. We do rep because he has to sleep on the sofa.
I've never slept on the sofa, but I have started on the sofa, but I never finished on the sofa.
Remember he said that.
Yeah,
after
I did. I did start on the sofa.
It's not me. I'm not crazy.
He did. It's callback.
Okay, so we end the show with rapid fire. You give our viewers and listeners your call signs. Except Andreas, you are not on social media.
I'm not.
Aren't you the
Oh,
smart
man.
one? Aren't you the genius?
Do it. Do
Insane,
it.
insane.
Do it.
Who wants to go first?
I'm
Andreas.
not on
Okay.
Anything.
No, but it's fine.
Andreas is really smart.
Yeah, he's super smart. He intimidates me on Facebook because I'll say something. He'll be like, "Actually," I'll be like, "Oh God,
No.
what are we doing?" Andreas, animated character that we haven't seen in a while that you'd love to bring back.
Oh, good question.
Time's up.
I think it's time for a Roger Rabbit sequel.
Oh my God, I love Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really good friends with Joanna Cassidy.
Yeah.
She would be up for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good
that's
idea.
really good.
Rabbit,
That's a
it's
good idea.
me. I love her.
They must have taught.
I could go in for the
Oh
voice.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
It's really good.
it's,
I don't think he's dead. Wait, no, who did that? Mel Blanc? Who did
No,
Roger?
no. Roger his name was Charles whatever. He's actually.
Oh no, he's still the voice of
Fleischer.
Mickey Mouse.
Charles
Right?
Fleischer?
No, who's the
Fleischer.
Yeah, he's kind of.
yeah.
I need a new voiceover agent, but
Yeah,
it's me. Yeah.
He's gotten a little odd in his ears. Andres, a guilty pleasure movie, since we know that you love, quality cinema. A film that you told us that you love that we'd be like, what?
Oh, Steel Magnolias?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
Endlessly quotable.
That's not guilty.
Andres, a character that you have worked on that you would love to hang out with in real life.
Hercules?
Yes.
I would have went Hades, man, if I were you.
I didn't animate him. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. A character that you have worked on that most resembles you in terms of personality.
Oh, Carla.
Hercules.
Really, Colin? Most embarrassing song on your playlist?
Probably something German.
Du hast.
Du hast von mir Frau.
Or something from Eurovision.
Okay. Andreas, where can people find you?
They can't.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Call your agent.
Grinder.
Aren't you married?
I'm not on Grinder.
Oh, yes. All right, you guys. But Google Andreas Wessel-Therhorn. Look at his work. It's truly remarkable. Andreas is bringing us new projects with Curious George by DreamWorks, and
My kids love Curious George. Like
I was raised on Curious George. Thank you, Andreas. Who's next?
Go. Okay.
I rarely volunteer, but I'll jump in when told.
Mike, if you could interview as a reporter anyone from the past, who would it be?
Oh man, John F. Kennedy.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why I went there, but I went.
If you had to drive a current celebrity across country today, who would it be?
Lady Gaga.
Oh God!
Because I would.
She'd be like, "Are you looking at me?"
I'd be like, "Honey, I'm driving Lady Gaga across country. I'm gonna try to seduce her. I think she'd be okay with it."
Well, she's single now. You heard she broke up?
Yeah.
Oh, who's she with? I didn't even know. See? Don't even know.
She just broke up. She's not with anybody.
Well, but who was she with?
She's her ego. Needs another house for that. Something that you would tell yourself as a reporter just starting out, all those many years ago in Indiana.
Stop reporting. Get into acting.
Interesting. If you had an unlimited budget to make a film, what film would it be?
Buck Rogers in the 21st Century, and I say in the 21st Century because I loved that show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got to be, but Buck Rogers is like, every writer listening to this show might just say, "Oh my God, really?" I think most know it though. It's like free IP now. Like that's over 100 years old. Not the 21st century part of it, but Buck Rogers. So
yeah.
Flash Gordon also, like all in the public domain. Like that's another one. Like why haven't they redone Flash Gordon? I think that's okay to redo at this point. I know, right? We should figure out. I know with all the animation, we've got the team right here to do it, right? But I mean, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers. Those are movies that I remember as a kid, especially like Queen's soundtrack. Like bring that. It's okay. Use that. Yeah. Right. I mean, God, great movies.
And Flash needs like a Latino husky sidekick.
Yeah, there you go.
Mike, where can our viewers and listeners find you?
At the Mike Hatton, Hatton, MikeHatton. The vodka's talking now.
Yeah, but you guys watch Green Book before the Oscars. Are you going to the Oscars?
I am. I'm so excited.
Who are you wearing?
I'm actually wearing Michael Costello.
Are you really? Wait,
Yeah.
he's for my people.
Yeah, he
And
he
Beyonce.
is. And so I am.
Are you wearing a Beyonce gown?
I am.
I'll die.
Right, so my jacket will be Michael Costello. My skirt will be Beyonce's. Yeah.
I would love for you to have like a green like gown, and it's like the Green Book, and you open up.
Yeah, just be like, oh, look, the interior is green. No, I'm wearing Michael Costello. I'm really excited about it because Michael and I are both, we knew each other before we worked. I mean, Michael had a place on Palm Canyon in Palm Springs. I would always go in. I was selling airtime at the time, and it's like, you need to advertise. And he'd be like, I don't need to advertise. And he was right. He didn't. And then, of course, he blew up, and he's a big deal. And
wow,
I'm just grateful that he's even putting me in his threads.
I'm so glad you're bringing him on the show.
I'll talk to him. I'll ask him. Maybe.
We've sent him many requests. He's like, ew.
He's so, I mean, God.
Tell him I'm on Amazon Prime. Mike, what a pleasure. You guys, like, this is such a great conversation. Stan, you're next.
Oh, no.
If you could have directed any of the Best Picture nominated films, which one would you have wanted to direct?
Oh, my God. Green Book.
Hey, all right.
But I don't know if I could do a better job. It was so, everything was so perfect about it. Yeah, I loved it.
We know that you're from TV. What is your guilty pleasure TV show that you're watching now that you're like, oh, God, I hope nobody knows I'm watching this?
Morning Joe.
I don't even know what that is.
And then MSNBC at 3 a.m. Yes, I do wake up.
I was about to say, is that a news
it's
program?
A news
it sounds
program.
like
I'm
a news
just so
program.
nervous that the world is going to end and that idiot is going to do something. That I'm like, what's happening?
Oi, what's happening?
That's
My finger's on the trigger.
Yeah.
That's also his Grindr profile name is Morning Joe. You are writing us.
Wait a minute, let me do that.
Like, bloop.
Yeah.
Stan, you are writing a script for B. Arthur today.
Oh.
What would the show be about?
I probably would do another female ensemble. Or maybe put her with like a group of gay men. How about that? Put her in Silver Foxes.
Oh, interesting.
I would do, yes, well, originally Silver Foxes, I wanted to set actually in the home of, that they were in Golden Girls.
Oh, that they had rented it after?
That's what I thought. I said,
that's
even
a
if you
good
didn't.
idea.
In the show? That's great.
Even if you didn't, I said, let's not even say anything. It just use the same floor plan. And
we would clock it in 2 seconds.
That have been, yes, but wouldn't that have been really cool?
I want you to bring back the gay Coco that was cut after the pilot.
That would be a funny one-man show for you. No, seriously, wouldn't that be funny? What? Like, what happened to Coco? That would be really funny.
This is what happened to Coco.
We could take that all over the United States.
Okay, let's do it. Let's honestly do it.
It'll be going to Provincetown, Rehoboth, everywhere. Palm Springs.
I'll go.
Yeah,
Hey.
that's funny.
They love me in Palm Springs.
It'll be the next Sordid Lives.
There you
Yes.
go.
But good.
Boy, you just said that out loud. Yeah.
Stan, you are writing a speech for Donald Trump. What does the first sentence say? What's the first sentence that you're writing for his speech?
I wouldn't. I can't. I don't want any more words out of that man. That person's
I got one for you. It's huge.
Yes.
No.
And we're not talking about anything in his.
I don't want to hear another word. Every word is a lie. Every word is. I mean,
But we're not political here, so
no,
thank
but
you so
there's
much.
something his family needs to do. Like when I took my car away from my mother, you need to take the car away.
Take the country away.
I blame his children. They know what's going on with him physically and mentally. It's not fair to the rest of the country and the world.
No,
Anyway.
it isn't.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
All right, you guys.
You just lost sponsors, didn't you?
I'll just keep doing impressions. I stay out of
Okay.
it. But I'll do an impression.
Give our viewers, listeners,
ZimmermanStan.com, and please come to the last 3 shows of A Diary of Anne Frank, brownpapertickets.com, Friday and Saturday at 8 and Sunday at 3, and then hopefully we'll come to your communities.
And I'm going to be there Sunday.
Yes.
Is there like an after party
You
with free
betcha.
wine?
You know me, I have after parties.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
I'm going to
okay.
be there. You guys, so we have to end the show. Check me out on Glitterbomb, my new national TV talk show, currently broadcasting over 22 million homes, covered in People magazine, listed as one of the new must-watch shows on New Now Next, featuring me and my co-host. Just pay attention to me. Where we talk about favorite stars from film, TV, music, reality TV. Tune in every Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you do is search Glitterbomb because we're on a different channel in every different city. Also, we're on Facebook Watch, so you don't have any excuse to not watch us. A big thank you for my guests for today. This has been such a great conversation. You guys, we could literally start a new podcast from this. Thank you, Kurt, our engineer. My guest co-host, of course, Stan Zimmerman. Go see Diary of Anne Frank, like we said. Mama Rose in the chat room. I wonder how many Christian stepdaddies I have right now. Our sponsors, Vista Grande Resort and Bearworth Apparel. And to you, our loyal listeners, thank you so much. Share us, tweet us, DM us. Coming up on the rocks, we have JC from Big Brother, if you watch Big Brother, and John Sessa from Bravo TV's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. He runs Vanderpump Dogs. He's coming in. As well as we have Star Trek Discovery's Wilson Cruz is coming in. Oh, did you get really excited about that? Oh,
Vanderpump Dogs. I'm like, wait.
Oh,
Wait, is this
we're not
real?
talking about her co-stars
Is this
on
real?
Real
There's a
Housewives.
show about Vanderpump Dogs?
It's an organization that helps dogs in need.
Oh, I thought you meant like the
Thanks,
show.
Mike, for caring.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
White straight men hated Roma, hate dogs. Let's eat them raw. You guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next Tuesday. This has been On the Rocks with Alexander, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Universal Broadcasting Network. Find me on Facebook on the Rocks Radio Show. Tweet me or Instagram me at On the Rocks On Air. See you next Tuesday.